Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and welcome to another edition of Ramadan for Better Health. Again, happy Ramadan to you. It's a very great privilege and honor for us, and a very significant blessing from Allah that we're alive to fast the holy month of Ramadan, completing a very important basic pillar in Islam. And we do wish you well and success in your fasting. Today, we're going to be talking about pregnancy, those who happen to be carrying babies while they're fasting the month of Ramadan. We're joined by a pioneer in the medical industry here in Egypt. He is very active in revitalizing and professionalizing different institutions across the country. He has a former director at a university in the UK in Manchester in gynecology. He is also a professor at Alexandria. This is Professor Dr. Ahmed Sekoutoure. Assalamu alaikum to you, Doctor.
Assalamu alaikum. Thanks for having me.
So it's a great privilege to have you here to talk to us about this subject. There are many other things that we would love to talk to you about.
Thank you.
But today we're going to focus on the women who happen to be carrying babies while they're fasting the holy month of Ramadan. Can you just set this situation up for us? What kinds of help us to understand the things that we need to consider for women who are pregnant during Ramadan?
Thank you very much. This is a very important issue, as we all can anticipate. Many pregnant ladies will find the month of Ramadan approaching either in the beginning of their pregnancy or during their latter part of pregnancy, and there are certain issues to consider. I think the most important thing is that how does the the Islamic teaching and recommendations fall in this area. And although I think the majority or most ladies would want to fast, they are allowed not to fast if they fear any harm to their health or to their unborn baby health. So let us agree that if a lady would want to fast whilst she is pregnant, she's only allowed to do that under medical supervision. If there is no harm to her or to her baby, that can be anticipated from the fasting.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about the stages of pregnancy.
Yes.
I imagine that some women may start fasting without knowing that they're pregnant, and then may find out during the Ramadan. Let's talk about the stages. Is it 3 stages of pregnancy?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about what we should consider in each of these 3 phases?
Right. In terms of the pregnancy stages and in relation to the fasting, for a woman to fast, optimally and ideally, she should prepare for that.
Okay.
Even before pregnancy, by optimizing her health, by knowing with her doctor who follows her up that she is free of any medical condition or complication that can be aggravated by the pregnancy itself, making sure that she is entering the pregnancy in an optimum state of health in terms of her blood count, hemoglobin, the iron level in the blood, optimal weight, for example, taking her vitamins, that should be taken before pregnancy. Now, the research about fasting during pregnancy varies, and the outcome varies. Some research saying that the impact of fasting during the early part of pregnancy is not significant in terms of a negative impact on the baby. There has been some studies showing that it can, slow the growth of the baby if the mother is not optimized in her condition and aware that she is pregnant and aware that she needs to, keep herself well hydrated.
Yeah.
Also, there are things to consider, which is, the day, the duration of the fasting day. For example, fasting in the summer month, in a hot weather with a long day,
Yeah.
that might have a negative impact on the pregnant lady. Whereas fasting during the winter, on the short days, that could be easier for her.
And now, this year happens to be, for the next few years, we're going to be moving increasingly into deeper into the summer months.
Yes.
And so this will be increasing concern. Let's go back to the 3 phases. How many weeks is it? The entire pregnancy should last. Is it about 40 weeks, or is it?
Yeah, 40 weeks from the last period.
From the last period that she had.
Yes.
And then, you would just divide by 3. Are they equal? 3 equal portions?
More or less.
Okay.
Yes, more or less. I mean, the first phase is the phase where the baby started to form. From little tiny cells that divide until the buds of the little organs start to form. And then the second phase where the anatomy and the baby's organs start to develop in a greater deal. And the last phase is the baby becoming, mature and putting weight, and the organs start to function properly in preparation of the baby being born.
So the first advice that I hear you giving is that before even knowing that you're pregnant, we should be taking care of our health. That's
right.
To start with, number one.
Yes.
Then once we do find out, once one of the sisters find out that she's pregnant, to, especially in the summer months, take very care with hydration and proper nourishment, and very seriously consider whether or not she actually performs the fast.
That's right.
Is there any one of the 3 stages more crucial to properly nourishing, or are they all equally as important?
I think they are all equally important. Perhaps the first phase is very important. That's the phase where the baby is starting to settle in the womb and grow the blood vessels and the placenta to nourish the baby, and starting preparation for the second phase where the organs start to form appropriately and all this. And that's the phase where a woman can get some early symptoms of pregnancy, like feel nauseated a little bit, can throw up a little bit, and vomiting and all that. And that can, if she's already having that, a little bit dehydrated, and start to fast, that will aggravate the condition.
That's a little bit too much.
Exactly, that will be too much. But in general, usually the second part of pregnancy, the lady feels well in herself. Third part of pregnancy, generally they feel okay, although eating becomes a little bit, if she have a full stomach, that can put some burden on her digestive system. So they need to eat frequent, smaller meals. So, the advice is that they need to keep well hydrated, not less than 2 liters of water or fluids per day from dusk, from the
sunrise to
sunset, exactly, to sunrise, and take the vitamins, keep the checks up with the doctor, more frequent checkups, observe the baby's movements, make sure that she's not feeling dizzy or headache or feel dehydrated, and also have frequent, maybe a snack before bedtime, so breaks her fast, have a snack at bedtime, and then have the suhoor and the meal before dawn to prepare for the fasting.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about the medical research.
Yes.
What does it say? I mean, have they collected a body of knowledge, cases of women who fast and are pregnant? And if so, what does this research say?
Yes, well, the research in this area is vast, but you cannot apply it to individual patients.
Okay.
You have to you get a global knowledge about it so that you can advise patients, but then you tailor your approach to the individual patients. If we say that in the majority, fasting was found in the wool woman, in the woman that is well in herself and baby is absolutely fine, not to be detrimental to her condition. However, you know, if she's developing problems like blood pressure, raised blood pressure, if she is diabetic, for example, have raised blood sugar, or if she is starting, you know, the pregnancy in less than optimal condition, or if she works, you know, during pregnancy and her work entails that she does some heavy, you know, physical activities. If she moves between locations, if she's an engineer, for example, and she goes in the hot weather between locations during her pregnancy, and fasting might add to her, you know, dehydration, for example. Particularly if she's fasting in a hot weather. So everything has to be taken within a context of our knowledge from research, but then you tailor it to the individual patient.
Okay. All right, doctor. Well, we're ready for our first break.
Okay.
All right. We'll take a break and then come back, continuing our discussion with Dr. Sekou Touré and about pregnancy, women who happen to be carrying babies during the holy month of the fasting month of Ramadan. We'll be right back after a short break.
Welcome to Cosmic Proof, the one and only program that leads you to the truth wherever it is, for my sake and your sake.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the program Ramadan for Better Health. We're discussing pregnancy during the fasting month of Ramadan. We're joined by Dr. Ahmed Sekou Touré. Dr. Ahmed, let's continue our discussion. What about women who are pregnant and decide to go through with the fasting? We talked earlier before the break about you know, the concern with particularly with the first phase of pregnancy. But let's say the woman decides to go ahead and do the fast. What advice do you have for her? And what warning signs should she look out for, she and her husband, which should they look out for as she fasts while pregnant?
Thank you. That's a very important question. And you know, the general advice during pregnancy is that she should be aware of her health and her baby's health. So, for example, she should make sure that she hydrates herself very well during the time where she's allowed to eat and drink. Okay, and we mentioned not less than 2 liters of fluids. If she's feeling dizzy, if she faints, if she gets headaches during the fast, she should really consult her doctor and perhaps break the fast on that day until he makes sure that she is okay, and modify her, you know, day-to-day routine. And if she gets that persistently, then she shouldn't be allowed to fast.
And if she does happen to break her fast for any reason, she can continue the next day and just make up the fast, right?
Later on, yes,
okay.
That's right.
Alhamdulillah.
If she feels, if the baby's grown and she started feeling baby's movements, you know, that's after the, 18 weeks of pregnancy, and then started to feel decline in the baby's movements. That's also a sign that she should look for and report to her doctors. If she's vomiting, okay, or feeling nauseated, most of the time, also she needs to report that to her doctor.
Okay.
Also, a very important sign is that she should be, passing water in adequate amounts. Going to the toilet. So if she feels that the amount of water she's passing is not really normal, very scanty. Normally during the fast, the amount of water passed during the day will become a little bit less.
Right.
But if she feels that this is unusually less, she also should consult her doctor. And if she
Okay.
feels dry and dehydrated and not feeling well, okay, Islam is a merciful religion and doesn't want to put people in hardship.
Right.
Yeah, and let alone a pregnant lady and her baby.
That's right.
So Allah is the most merciful, and she is allowed to break her fast and then make up for that later on.
All right, and then things that she can do to give herself more comfort,
Yes.
to make it easier
Yes.
while she fasts.
Yes.
We've talked about some of the red flags.
That's right.
You know, you said that if the moving of the baby, once it starts, you said at 18 weeks,
Around.
if that reduces.
That's when she starts feeling it.
Wh-
Baby moves before that.
Okay.
Very well before that, but start to feel it at around that
Right,
time.
right.
Yes.
And if there's a reduction in that, that's a
right.
sign.
That's right.
And less than normal
Urine.
output, urine.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, two important signs to look for. And I keep hearing you mention the importance of hydration.
That's right.
This is something that I think the one thing, if we don't take anything, we should walk away with.
That's right.
The importance of hydration. All right, so let's talk about the things that she can do to make herself more comfortable, make the fasting more easy.
Yes. Now that's a plan. It's a project plan, you know. Now she's coming to a month of fasting. She knows that she's going to spend good few hours, 1/3 of the day, for example, without food and drink.
Yeah.
So what should I be doing? Should I be exhausting myself in physical activities?
In the sun, right?
In the sun? Should I
Okay.
be going around in the sun? So it's a a common sense advice that she should set her mind that this is a restful or more or less month. Yeah, she should rest well enough during the month of Ramadan during the day. No excessive activities at all. She shouldn't be walking too much in the hot weather in the sun.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She should reduce the amount of hours that she works. She might negotiate with her employer.
Yes.
Reduced working hours or flexible working hours, working from home, for example, if that can be negotiated with her employer. Yeah.
Okay. There's another part of Ramadan in the evening that's very important. The Taraweeh,
Yes.
the evening prayers.
Yes.
Right. Let's say the sister, she wants. This can last 2 to 3 hours. Right. With her standing, and what do you recommend? Can we categorize this as excessive activity for a pregnant woman?
Now, anything can be taken in a well-balanced way.
Okay.
Okay. Instead of her standing on her feet to finish the whole Quran in Taraweeh, why not, pray on her own? Yeah. Taraweeh is not to be prayed in. It's from the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, where we have congregations for Taraweeh. But before that she can pray it on her own. Very little verses of Quran, and then rest every 2 rakah. She can rest a little bit,
Yes.
and that's fine.
Yeah.
And she can do that.
Alhamdulillah.
So alhamdulillah, it's a religion that matches the mind, matches the common sense.
Yeah.
It's not a religion that should be taken in a tough way,
And
in
if
a hardship.
And if she sits down when she's then that's
Absolutely.
perfectly okay.
Absolutely, absolutely. She can sit down. That's absolutely perfectly okay. She can drink between the rakahs in the evening in the Taraweeh. Make sure that she is well. If she can't complete them, that's fine. Allah will accept that.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. But let me complete about what she can do to make her fasting easier.
Please, yeah.
And we said that she should avoid, going too much in the hot weather. Try to negotiate with her employer about reducing working hours.
Yes.
or working flexibly from home, for example. And we mentioned about the good hydration in the evening. Also in the evening, she should avoid, eating too much sugary food, because that will bring the sugar too high and then too low straight away, and she will feel dizzy and won't last for her. She should eat, whole grains, for example. Make sure that she gets a snack before bedtime, and then the suhoor before dawn. In the suhoor, she can have something that can stay with her for longer, like beans, for example. That's very famous in Egypt,
yeah.
isn't it? Yes. And she can have food that is rich in lean meat, and that's a little bit after the breaking the fast. You can have that.
You mentioned the foods. Can you talk a little bit about the liquids? Of course, water.
Yes.
And you said
Absolutely.
2 liters per day, right?
Yeah.
What about tea and coffee, fizzy drinks, juice?
Well, the natural juices, fruit juice, fresh juice is okay, is good, and she should choose the juice that suits her, that doesn't cause too much acidity in her stomach. So that's fine. In terms of coffee and tea, we would like to cut very much down on that.
Reduce coffee and tea.
I wish to say
Eliminate.
not at all, exactly, but at least reduce, maybe not more than 1 or 2 very diluted cups tea or coffee with milk in it, but I would wish to say, well, try to eliminate it altogether, and stick with that. Obviously, fruits and vegetables, 5 portions of that. Fruits and vegetables. It's not eating too much, but it's eating a well-balanced diet, and spreading it throughout, and eating the food that will last, not too much sugary, not too much fatty food.
And so it sounds like quantity, not quantity. Quality.
That's right.
is
yes,
the important thing.
And the vitamins as well.
Vitamins. Okay.
Yes,
You
yes.
mean the supplements?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, we tend to believe, based on research, that there are certain vitamins or supplements that are important. Some of them in early pregnancy or even before pregnancy, like folic acid, for example. That's good for the development of the baby's neural system and the spine. And after that comes the iron supplements, particularly if she's anemic. Many ladies in Egypt, or in the developing countries, they go pregnancy with a little bit of degree of anemia, which is not good for the health of their babies and their health as well, and the labor. And also vitamin D and calcium. They are very important during pregnancy.
All right. So we've talked about recommendations to make things easier for her. We've talked about the spiritual aspect. If she can do the night prayers, if she sits down, gives herself, time to rest, and Allah will accept her efforts, inshallah.
Inshallah. The intention.
Yes. All right. So now we're coming to the end of Ramadan. What recommendation, what advice do you give her to end the fast? Any special care that she should give herself as she's coming out of the fast?
Yes. Well, when as she's coming out of the fast, but she's still in the fast, well, the same advice applies.
All right.
And the same warning sign, the red flags that we mentioned, she should be looking for.
Okay.
Perhaps hydration comes really very, very important as well at this stage. We say that, during the latter part of the pregnancy, the weight gain during pregnancy becomes a little bit apparent. So maybe she needs to increase the calories. And this is where she really needs to increase the calories that she is taking during the day. By maybe on average 200 calories a day, which is equivalent to a pita bread, pita bread with cheese on it, cheese on toast, a slice of cheese on toast, that 200 calories roughly.
The Aish Baladi, is this
yes,
good?
Yes,
okay.
Or a can or 3/4 of a can of baked beans and a piece of toast, that's roughly 200 calories. So during the latter part of pregnancy, she needs to increase her calories intake or her normal food by 200 calories a day. And keep vigilant about the baby's movements, about not to exhaust herself, and we mentioned well hydrated. After the fast, in terms of celebrating the food and stuffing too much food, that might not be a good idea.
Okay.
Because the stomach becomes too much compressed by the growing uterus and all that with the pregnancy. So she should be sensible in terms of her eating when celebrating, breaking the fast and all that. So small, frequent meals.
Okay,
Yeah.
Dr. Ahmed, we are at the end of the program. We've got about 1 minute left. Let's sum everything up for the sisters and the brothers who have wives that are pregnant from beginning to end. A quick summary and last words of advice.
Yes, thank you. Well, the summary is that a woman that is pregnant and the month of Ramadan is approaching or is coming, she can fast if she is well enough to do that,
Yes.
and there is no fear on her health or her baby's health,
Yes.
and the baby is doing well. And the best person to say that is her treating doctor. So she should consult her treating doctor about her general condition. Generally, if she is having problems with raised blood pressure or increased blood sugar with, like diabetes and all that, she probably better off not fasting than making up for that with any mean. And she should keep very well hydrated if she's going to fast. Not less than 2 liters of fluids a day. She should have her supplements of vitamins. She should look for any signs of, warning signs like any dizziness, any headache,
Yes.
any fainting, any dryness, not passing urine as much as she should be passing. She should make sure that if she's fasting during hot weather, not to go in the hot weather too much, protect herself, reduce her working hours, avoid heavy exercise or heavy duties at home or at work during the day, during the fasting days, and making sure that she is having frequent checkups with her doctor.
Dr. Ahmed Sekou Touré, he is a professor in Alexandria. He is also a former director of gynecology at the University of Manchester in the United Kingdom. We are very privileged to have him with us. Thank you so much, Doctor, for being with us. Inshallah, he'll be back to continue our discussions about good health during the fasting month of Ramadan. Thank you for tuning in. We'll sign out for now. Inshallah, we'll be back with more. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Oh